Hello, my name is Syed Asfar Hussain and I'm the director at FI Karachi chapter. Uh, with me, Mr. Omar Abdeen, Mr. Abdul Basit, and Ms. Iram Abbasi are directors at the FI Karachi chapter. We are supported by Ms. Alizia Ayaz, who's also director at the FI NIC Karachi chapter. So, all of you are interested to be part of our wonderful program, and we have three wonderful mentors as well. Ms. Zartaj, who has attended the FI program and has really aced the program. At the same time, we have Mr. Oman Lakhani, who's been a mentor at the FI program, and Mr. Mubariz Siddiqui, who's also a mentor at the FI program. All of them have worked with startups, have uh, help startups to fundraise or are in the journey of helping other startups as well. So they are mentors as well as experts, and at the same time they are well aware of the startup ecosystem as well as what investors want from startups. FI is an excellent program. So we have run this program and we have got some excellent results. It's the world's largest pre-seed accelerator. It's in more than 90 countries. It has more than 20,000 mentors. The alumni is more than 5,000, and the value of the startups is more than $20 billion. So it's a great community. The community is very vibrant. It really helps the early stage startups as well as the startups that are in the growth stage, and the community is really active. We have events that are truly global. You have the exposure to be connected with people around the world. So it's a wonderful community, and it's one of the best structured program around. So at FI, it was established 12 years by and one of the founders is Mr. Regulus C. So at FI, we believe that entrepreneurs can create real impact on site. Most startups fail because they lack expert feedback and proper focus during the early or pre-stage stages. So that is why we have these mentors who really help those startups at the very initial stage and help them to grow and scale their company. So it's a mentor-led program where mentors help and work with the startups as well as the local FI team that helps the startups to grow and help them with their challenges. So it was established, as earlier said. Some of the companies you guys can see were part of the FI program, and you can see some real big names like Airbnb, Uber, Udemy, and others. So and even Zoom. So we have one of the finest companies around who have attended the program or have been part of this wonderful initiatives. So these are some of the highlights, some of the events that happened, and we can see a Duracell in the so the world has changed. Is about to rethink what we discuss. It's also the groups that is where we learn from each other during the FI program. Um, Course fees has been reduced for all programs. We have the office hours tools now. The program is virtual, so uh, you're connected virtually, and it provides more networking opportunity, and you can really kind of connect with the alumni around. Zartaj can maybe share her experience because she's very active in the community. And then the newly launched VC Lab, which Omar Saab is also part of it. He may share his experience as well. So these are some of the very known programs around the world. The Startup Weekend, the Y Combinator, TechStarts, Angel List. By the way, Angel List has launched Angel List Stack recently. It's also a great initiative where you can list your company and you can prepare yourself for funding. So do check it out on the Angel List website. So it's really helps the this entire community really helps the startups. So next, and at all levels, right from the pre-seed level to the seed, and then Series A and other levels. So it's the idea stage, and then uh, the MVP and the growth stage. So usually the startups that are at joining us are at the launch stage, but we do have startups that are at the growth stage and are ready for funding. So it's for both the tracks are followed. The course is somewhere has similarities, as well as the growth track is more towards raising funds and investments. Next, it's a 4 months intensive program. Next. So yes, so at the Founder Institute, the life cycle is quite it's very structured. We have the Founder Lab, we have the Founder Institute, and then we have the alumni support that is all the time. Yes, we can share you this PDF file as well. We can share that. Next, please. So we have many portfolio companies at the FI, and they have raised almost $1 billion from investors. And like I've mentioned earlier, you can see the big names like Udemy, Airbnb, Ubers, and others. Next, please. So how do we do it? So we have some of like I've mentioned earlier, some of the industry best minds are mentors at FI, and then we have this great support network that works together around the globe, and then this entire program is very structured for 4 months, where it's the founders are kept busy with good assignments, as well as the KPIs are managed through this program. So and then this support and this structure is with you all the time. So it's for the lifetime. Next, please. Yes. So the focus is on great founders, and that is why great companies start with great people and not great ideas. So uh, finding the best founders and in search of best founders, you can train them, mentor them, give them the right network, then they build great companies. So it's also the ideology of FI, and the belief that great founders build great companies. Next, please. So you can see at your SC here. Uh, yes, so you don't need to submit an idea to apply here. Uh, you need to have a test. You need to clear that test to be part of that program. And it's yes, obviously we only accept high potential entrepreneurs. So we really predict through this test. So you're given a test, and then you need to clear those tests, and that's how you were admitted to the program. Next, please. Yes, so great companies are not built alone. So yes, it's about the network, it's about the support, and then you have during these 4 months, we have different working groups as well, where the batch or the group or the cohort of FI, the companies work together. The companies work as a team. They discuss each other's challenges. They try to find out common ground, and they learn from each other, and as well as the network that is truly global. So yes, work as teams and synergize their efforts as well. Next, please. So these are some of the mentors that are leading names around, and this is the profile, their age, and the as you can see that it's very much mentors giving their feedback, evaluation, and training. And then through this network, the mentors are also have uh, some percentage of equity which we can discuss. Uh, so it's well structured, where your success is also the success of mentors in terms of the growth of the company. So they are they really are into your business. Next, please. Next. So this is the structure of the equity. Collective, it's 4%, which is taken by the founders. One goes to the alumni network, which is all around the globe. 1% to the mentors, 1% to the leaders who are contributing and running this program, and 1% to the FI headquarters, and that makes 4%. It's not a big number where you can get an international support, you get great mentorship, you get leaders across, and then obviously FI, which is giving you this entire program in a structured way. So this entire you need to give 4% of your equity to be part of this, and then get these amazing opportunities of meeting the leaders, the mentors, the alumni network. This all comes with the 4% equity. Next.
Hey,
Yes,
Asghar,
it's very structured. Yes. Sorry.
Asghar, sorry, can I just clarify something on the 4%?
G. G.
So first of all, 1% जो एक founders की बात कर रहे थे Asghar, that actually applies to all the founders in the cohort in which you are registered. So if there are 15 cohort members in your cohort, then that 1% will be split between the other 14 members. And the reason for this is that everyone should have a vested interest in helping everyone else succeed. So it's not a competition. We're working together. We're trying to, work collectively towards a success. The second piece of this is that this 4% is not a gift to FI. This is in the form of a warrant, and it is dilutable. So what a warrant means is that if FI chooses to exercise this option, they will purchase these from you in your next round of funding. So it won't be a gift to them. And secondly, this 4% will be dilutable just like every other investor. So at the end of the day, it might be 2% or 1% by the time all the dilutions are done. So just to put everyone's mind at ease, this is meant to drive collective effort, not competition. That's all.
Mhm. Thank you, Umar Saab. So yes, and obviously when you get this sort of network and this sort of mileage, so it's really doesn't really matter. It actually adds value to the company when you're associated with big minds around. So the focus is a starter's biggest challenge, and yes, speed is crucial. So fail fast and try to find solutions is the way out when we try the F5 curriculum. Next. So it's a proven process to build quickly and cheaply. Yes, it's not a it's an excellent international program, and the overall program cost and structure is less than a course of MBA program in any of the leading institutes of Pakistan. So it's really cheap, and this entire methodology is very successful. It really gives you quick results. It's very structured and sequential. You really need to you have deliverables, and you progress along in the 4 months time. Even and Zartaj will share her experience as well of milestones that each startup has to achieve every week. So and then you have constant feedback sessions with mentors. The entire 14 weeks are very engaging. You have a lot of feedback as well as great insights from mentors around. Next, please. So this is the launch track. uh, the 14 weeks are divided. It starts from the orientation, then we have the vision validation session, customer development, revenue session, branding and design, mentor idea review, legal and IP, go to market, product development, mentor progress review, hiring and onboarding, growth, equity and funding, showcase and collaboration. So we have one founder. Uh, After the program, he had a wonderful feedback, and he said that he was a graduate of one of the leading business schools of Pakistan. He said that this program is more challenging, as well as it was a great learning experience for me. He felt that it's like a mini MBA, and he really found his skills and his overall startup really get a great insight of what's happening in the market through this program, because it's very much it focuses on founders' ability to find answers by surveys, by getting to know what's in the market, by interviewing people, by knowing the feedback. So it's very much feedback generated, driven by founders and driven by the market demands and needs. So it's a very intensive program, and the entire 14 weeks is based on different, you can say, departments and different divisions of business, as well as polishing all those divisions. It's a very intensive program. Next, please. So the launch stage and growth stage have some of the similarities, as well as the program has weekly feedback. So as you can see that most of the program elements are same for both the tracks. Next, please. So this is the lifetime support, and you have the local network support, as well as the mentors that are around, and over 18,000 mentors is a big number. Then you have the founder lab as well. You have different events coming in. We have international access to interception altogether, and really opens up your mind. So it's a great support network. Next, please. So that's the product market fit lab, and then we have the funding lab, and then we have the venture lab. So it's a founder lab, and it really helps you at the different stages of the business, right to the Series A level. So then you're in connection with the investors, and you really want to have the growth of your startup, so you can work with the founder lab as well. Next, please. So this is about the founder lab. It has training, planning, refining, and then networking outreach, then program review, pitching, ideation, iteration, follow-up, then paid demand, initial closing, and final process. So I think so. Omar Sahib, do you have any comment on the funding lab? Because I think so you're taking the program and as well. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So we are here to help, but the Founder Institute is hard. Yes, so there are many dropouts as well, because it's not easy to give time and to have focus, and to keep yourself disciplined and well structured to follow this program. You need to be very disciplined to follow this, and need to really work hard to stay competitive with this program. Next, please. Okay, so we this is a scoring sheet where we have 1 or 2s, and then 4 and 5. There are no 3s allowed. So we'll have a feedback on 1 or 2, and there's no 3. So you need to cover this deliverable. It's more of a ranking of your assignments. Uh, so dropouts can enroll in the next, yes. So uh, it's all generated through the feedback. You need to complete your assignments. You need to give your time to your assignments. Otherwise, you'll be out of the program, and then you're asked to join in. You may join if you're interested again. Next, please. So this is the application fee. Next, please. Founder Institute helps push you further faster to get you to traction. Next, please. So this is actually the summary of the program. You can apply now. Go to fi.co/join/info and you can join now and know more about the program. So thank you. We have three excellent mentors today. I know Mubariz needs to has another commitment as well. So we'll start with Mubariz. Mubariz has great experience in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. He's founder of Upla. He was the founder of Upla. He's exited from the startup. He has worked with different startups and he has worked with VCs. He has helped many companies with their fundraising as well. So Mubarak and he has also worked with the regulators as well. So he's truly an enabler. He's really helped startups. He has really helped the regulators. He has helped VCs. So I think so. He's the best person for in our community who has probably worked with almost every part of the ecosystem. So over to you, Mubarak, and thank you for joining us. You can share your experience and about the ecosystem and the fundraising and what should founders do to be investment ready. And so over to you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Asfar. You're always too kind. I could be doing more than what you said I'm doing. But anyhow, so thank you everyone for having me. And I'm actually really happy to be part of this session and to be sharing whatever experiences that I've learned from, which I feel that you could also benefit from. Um, the good thing about the current time that you're in at present is that never in Pakistan's history has there been a better time to start a business and to have all sorts of avenues and funding available. The current, if you think about it, in the entire history of Pakistan, capital has only been available to people who've born into it. Really, right now it has been democratized to quite an extent, where you have all this institutional capital available, and all it's looking for are people who can utilize it properly and make a good return out of it. Now, a few things that I think a lot of founders could understand well upfront, and that would dramatically impact their chances of fundraising and the chances of raising capital from VCs, institutional VCs in particular. Number one, understand what venture capital is. Okay, what you need to understand is, okay, what are the dynamics behind a venture capital? If you're gonna go raise money from a VC, you need to understand how that VC will make money. Okay, VCs typically take money from rich people and they deploy it in startups. Now, this is deploying money in startups is the riskiest asset class, because say if you're an early stage startup and someone gives you money, say for 10%, 5%, or even say 15% of equity, it could all go down to zero. If you're taking a bet on founders, it could go down to zero, even if the founder does something wrong, the founder Khuda Khasta dies, say the business doesn't work. There's so many risks attached to the business. That's why this is the riskiest asset class there is. So when VCs are investing, they're investing in super high risk opportunities with a view that the risk is so high, the reward is also could also potentially be very, very high. So they're looking for, so hota ye hai ki they take money from LPs, and for say a 10-year period, within those 10 years they have to give them a very good return. Say for example, if a VC has raised, it's a $10 million fund, um, over the course of 10 years, they should at least be doing anywhere between 4 to 5x. 4 to 5x is that after 10 years, they need to give their investors, people who gave them $10 million, at least 40 to $50 million back. Right now, $10 million is invested in, say, I would say between 5 to 7 deals, depending on the size of the investments, etc., or maybe even 10 deals. Let's just take that for simplicity's sake. You put in $1 million in every deal. Now that we know that 80% of the deals fail, to return $40 million, the $2 million has to literally, those two investments or maybe one investment has to really hit it out of the park. So if the VC invested at a valuation of 5 million, and the company, say they invested and they got 20% of the company at 5 million by investing $1 million, it's only when the company becomes worth $200 million without any dilution that the VC makes 40 million. Right. So if you just do the simple math, you'll understand that it's not easy to make money as a VC. So what they're looking for are opportunities where they could really hit it out of the park over the next 8 to 7 years, right? Because most likely most VC funds are 10-year cycles, and most likely they're 1 or 2 years into them. So this is the math that you need to go by. Now you need to understand what kind of business is backable or could need VC funding, right? Or VCs would find interesting. It's a business that can return exponential amounts of capital, like 20x in 5 to 7 years. That can only be done with businesses that can grow really fast, founders who know how to grow businesses really fast, and in businesses where there is no limitation on scale. In the sense, if I'm putting a factory for a physical good, there's a cap limit on the number of units I can produce. If I need to produce more units, I need to put another factory, which takes not years. The beauty of tech products is that there's marginal cost of replication. You can say if your software is being used by one person, it could be used by 1 million people without you having to replicate it or spend substantially more on cost. So that's the beauty of this, and that's why most VCs prefer tech, because it's easily scalable. Lastly, they're looking at founders who understand the nature of capital, who understand that capital is there for a purpose. It is not the end. The raising money is not the end. The end goal is to use that money and grow the business really fast. So these are the 3 things. If you really conceptually, these are very easy to understand and these are very easy to get. It's just that you have to spend some time in the industry with those things to understand. You'll find yourself a better place to raise funds. You'll find yourself better at judging which VC or which investor to raise funds from. Capital is very easily available. Much easily available than it was even like a year ago, to be very honest. I would say now is the time to research well. See, whenever you hear a startup funding news announcement, read every investor's name. All those people are okay with investing in Pakistan. See if they have invested in something similar to what you're doing, and just keep making a list. That's how you keep a list of the people that you would want to approach when you start to raise funds. I think there's just spoken extempo about quite different things. If there's anything in particular that you would want me to cover, happy to cover, Asfar or Iram or Alize.
So I think so. I think the usual question that startups have is the preference of few verticals, right? The e-commerce one or the mobility. We have some edtechs and health techs now and even fintech, 4 or 5 sectors. How about someone who's Uh, One, what's the reason why? What's the biggest interest for VCs in these sectors only? And if someone is not working in this sector, uh, what should they do to make their startup more attractive, or something that's not in line with the current dynamics of investing in?
So when we talk about making exponential returns, जो हम बात कर रहे हैं, business that will be 20x, 30x, 50x, uh, $200 million company, $500 million company, say even actually technically it should be $1 billion company, because we see that comes in, gets diluted over the course of time. $1 billion companies can only be made in markets that are worth tens of billions of dollars, right? I can't have $1 billion company in a market that is worth $1 billion, right? That would mean that I own the entire market. Everything is mine. That doesn't work like that. So if it's a 30 billion, 50 billion, $100 billion market, the likelihood of you making $1 billion company is much higher. The larger the market, the likelihood of you making a large company is much, much higher. Because it's big enough. It's big enough for competition. It's big enough for companies to be worth $1 billion. If you talk about the, say, retail, B2B supply chain, everyone's running there because the market is big. So if you're not operating in a in a big market like that, then what you need to show is that your ability, your margins, number one, should be stellar. Your ability to capture a substantial chunk of a small market, like a monopoly in a small market, that's pretty impressive. And lastly, VCs are not the only way to raise funds. There's small cap PE. There's institutional investors like say corporate investors. There's strategic investors who would want to do it. People are obsessed with making $1 billion companies. My view is, sure, there will be $1 billion companies in Pakistan. I think we'll see them in the next 2 years, within the next 2 years, coming out of Pakistan. My personal view would be that unless you're really driven to make a business in a space that is that big, I think you should focus on just solving the problem that you can truly solve really well. If it's in a smaller market, consider bootstrapping it, consider taking debt instead of dilutive capital, which is equity, and consider capturing that small market. The likelihood of you exiting a $50 million business, a $70-80 million business in Pakistan is much higher than you exiting a $500 million business or $800 million business. And again, owning 50% of a $60 million business versus 10% of a $300 million business is the same outcome for you. You will get the same amount of money. If 50% of a $60 million business is $30 million, 10% of a $300 million business is also $30 million. It's just that by the time you hit $300 million, it's you've had to really work hard, and exiting a $300 million business in Pakistan is much harder than exiting a $60 million business. I mean, banks and all buy real estate for more. So it's really around thinking about what it is, why you're doing what you're doing. It's not about having the best funded startup or the highest valued startup. It's about exiting at a value where you also capture a substantial part of the return.
Bilal has a question. Bilal, can you please type your question quickly?
Yeah, Bilal, I think we could just let you speak.
Aditi, can you allow him, please?
Sure.
Ji Bilal. Bilal, we have allowed you up. You can ask your question.
Hello. Hello.
Ji Bilal.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Hi, Mubariz. I can see that you have a lot of experience and knowledge. So we were talking about that keeping the current scenario, the funding scenario in mind. Since someone has said that, I forgot the name, that mostly VCs are funding in the same verticals like fintech, logistics, and things like that. So I'm working in a martech, so no one is investing in right now. So in my pitch deck, I've assumed that the total digital ad spending on marketing business is $1 billion in Pakistan, and it is growing. Okay, and day by day it's growing, since Pakistan is an underdeveloped country. So my question to you is that, is it a good market to go inside? Is it an attractive market? So before I end my question, so if you look at the market, the global market, okay, it's $356 billion. So can you please uh, uh, tell me that, is it a good market to launch a business in? Hello?
So yeah, I can hear you. So Bilal, any market or any product that you can actually truly, number one, want to build and are capable of building, and you are actually solving a problem, I think it's a good thing to build, right? Unless there's something else that you would be better suited to, or in a more lucrative market, right? Number one. Number two, if you're building a global product, then the global market matters. But if you're not building a global product, then the only restricting yourself to the Pakistani market, and then you are subscribing to all the Pakistani market nuances and the limitations. Number three, um, uh, if you can convey to someone that you have the absolute ability to go on and capture, say, a huge chunk of this $1 billion market, a year market, you could be a very valuable company. But number one, if the value of the market is not clear, and number two, if the founder cannot convince someone that they have the ability to capture this market, then it'll be very difficult. The best way the best thing you can do is you can just start proving it out. Most things do not need a whole lot of capital to prove out. One thing that will change everyone's opinion will be traction. You can have a great pitch deck, you can have a great story, doesn't matter. The minute you show traction, it all changes. If you put the product out there, not enough people have used it. You can see that it's not as big of a need as you thought it was. So try to get some traction, try to show numbers, try to show actual genuine interest in the product. And the day you can validate that someone is willing to pay for this, that's when you know that the solution is there. Then the next thing you need to validate is that a lot of people are willing to pay for it. Not one person, but many people are willing to pay for it. Then that's also a very interesting solution, right? So that's what essentially the crux of the matter is. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, I completely get it. So thanks for your answer. I have the pitch deck ready and things, so I can understand that the traction is the most important thing to convince any VC.
Thank you. Thank you. So any other questions then?
Yeah, if there is no one, can I further continue?
Quickly, yes. We
Okay. If there's someone else who want to talk
quickly.
Bilal, sorry guys, I think we should get on to the pitching now. So because time is a bit limited, and so let's start the pitching in the order in which people put their names in. Alize, if you don't mind,
Okay.
who was the first person who put their name up?
We have Quran teacher. Quran teacher by Iqbal trainer.
Quran teacher put his name up 3 times.
Yes. Iqbal, are you here?
Hello.
So, thank you, Mubariz. Mubariz, अगर आप कोई पार्टिंग में कुछ कहना चाहें.
Gee, no, this is pretty much it. And Doug, just try to. I think a lot of founders just before starting just think about funding too much, and before they even see if their hypothesis works, just think about what the investor wants and what would they fund. I would completely disagree with the approach. The approach should be to start solving a problem first, see if you can actually solve the problem, see if this is something that people would pay for, and then you go raise funding. So try to just validate your hypothesis in the with the least amount of money possible and least amount of effort and time possible. Anyhow, that's all from me. So good luck.
Thank you, Mubariz. Ji, Iqbal, you may share.
Yeah. So, am I only here?
Bilal,
Hello.
I think we are done with the Q&A. Now
Okay.
we'll have pitches and then we'll move to other two
Okay. Can I
experts.
pick?
So we'll do it in the order.
Okay.
We are
Sure.
waiting
Sure.
for Iqbal.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
So if Iqbal is not there, who was the next in line?
We have the
Hello, sir.
we have
Uh, Are you
Ji
hearing me, sir?
Ji Iqbal. Ji
Sorry, I
Ji.
was the audience. Uh, okay, okay. So can I start?
Ji.
Okay. My company name is Quran Teacher, and hello, sir.
Ji, we can hear you.
Okay, okay. My company name is Quran Teacher, and we are developing online Quran teaching platform to help Muslim men and women to teach Quran and get handsome earning by sitting at their home, getting payment from around the globe locally. So that's my idea. Quran Institute actually working on SDG goal number 1 and 4 to end the poverty and quality education. And so my wish to all the Maulanas and Quras, they can teach from their home, and student can learn from their own time zone around the globe by sitting at their home. That's it. Do you have any questions, sir?
Any feedback, Zartaj or Nauman? Mubariz?
So I
Yes,
just
sir.
have one question, Asfar. Iqbal, can you hear me? Iqbal, can you hear me?
Ma'am, I can't hear you.
Can or you can't? Or should I type my question?
I think so, Zartaj, you can just share your feedback. You can see it when
Yeah, so no, so I was just gonna ask that how how is it a platform, or I mean how are the teachers signing up or the students signing up? Just wanted to know about that.
Hal, can you hear?
Yes, I can't hear you. Can someone?
Okay, so we can move to the next participant because it's a challenge. He can't hear our queries. Yes, so Rajkumar, are you there from the side? Rajkumar, are you there from the side?
He's
Hello.
there.
Hello, everyone. Can you listen me?
Yes, we can listen. We
Yes,
can hear
it's an
you.
online platform, and a student and teacher can sign up with us
Iqbal, Iqbal, you're done with your
around the
pitch.
globe.
Yes, Raj,
Yes, sir. Please allow to share
Raj,
screen.
you're audible.
सर मैं स्क्रीन शेयर का ऑप्शन एक्सेस नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ, काइंडली इनेबल कर दीजिए इसको ताकि मैं प्रेजेंटेशन स्क्रीन शेयर कर सकूँ.
Okay. Aliza, are you there?
Raj, are you not able to share your screen? I think I've given you the rights to do so.
Yes, now it's okay.
Yes, we can see your pitch.
Yeah, perfect. So I'm Rajkumar. I am the founder of Decide. Decide basically helps shippers to get access for the transportation services from the pool of verified transporters. Being the industry is being run in the informal setting, so there are lots of inefficiencies, and Decide is aimed at bringing in the efficiencies to the existing industry. So this is the overview and founded in the year 2019. We are targeting the logistic industry and we are a self-funded startup so far. So our mission is to make logistics for everyone because this is very complex industry. Is to move the cargo in a truly digital manner. So this is the main problem because if we book trucks from the informal middleman, the process is very cumbersome because there are majorly 4 problems that we have identified. The price, because there are 2 to 3 brokers for each truck booking and the shippers are not able to get the fair pricing for their transportation job. Accordingly, informal brokers are unable to provide a good level of service to the customers. Likewise, availability and access is also a big issue because shippers don't have the access to not have any platform to access the transportation services, and they are bound to depend upon 2 to 3 brokers for the transportation jobs. So the solution here is we are bringing in a digital platform which will enable shippers to book truck with ease at the best price. We'll be able to access more shipments because we are also providing them the reverse load management through our web-based platform for the transporters. And likewise, they will be able to increase their earnings and their empty returns will be minimized. So this is how it works. The shippers will first post the truck booking request on the mobile app, and transporters will be able to see those requests, and he can apply the bid onto the preferred loads for which he wants to do the transport. And the shippers will be able to get the quotes from the different transporters. And like this way, this will create a win-win situation. And shippers will be able to track their shipments through the mobile app, and transporters will be able to manage their operation digitally, which is now being controlled by them in the manual settings. So the market is pretty much lucrative. As per the World Bank study in 2015, the market was estimated at $34 billion, but by keeping in mind the incremental rate by which the industry is growing every year, as of now, the market is estimated at $47 billion, out of which the full truckload market is 34 and the addressable market is $3 billion. And this is the market in which we are targeting the low volume shippers for customer who has 2 to 3 bookings per week or per month. So this is the volume that we're going to target. So this is the right time because there are several startups which I will be discussing in the later on slides, but there's no single market leader, and logistics is getting digital globally, and we can digitally disrupt this industry in a truly perfect manner. Okay, so can I
Can you
move on
just
to
quickly
competition
wind
slide?
up? Yes, please
Yes,
just
this is
wind it
the
up.
this is the competition slide, and most of the startups from the MENA region are also entering into the Pakistan market because this is really a big market. That's why MENA is also focusing on it as a lucrative opportunity. And most of them are still under the process of making the product, and my product is ready, which is already launched at the Play Store. So this is the business model amount, and this is the financials, and this is my simple introduction as the time is up. So please, any questions? Hello?
Thank you, Rashima. Thank you.
Yes, I think
Yes.
Raj, this is Nauman here. I think we've spoken before as well, and you pitched earlier in another session.
Exactly.
And,
I got the second prize.
yeah, so I think, and you have the experience of this transport sector previously within your professional experience as well. So I think you know what you're talking about. I think the only challenges that I foresee in such a market is that the only question I ask is any truck or any transport company today sitting idle and not getting business? The answer is no. They are getting business. And
Yes.
the connected question right next to it is the fact that are they educated enough to be able to come on a bidding platform to be able to accept bids based on the need of who the underlying client is? And are they administratively strong enough to be able to manage those kind of the leads that are coming in and then track the payments? So the advantage, while there are a lot of inefficiencies in Pakistan or the South Asian culture because of RPs and middlemen, the fact is that they also provide the convenience that of the hisab kitab and the administrative management that generally a business owner or a trucking company owner or a fleet owner does not need to go through. So I think those are kind of challenges that you'll have to face. I think there is no doubt in terms of the business model itself. You showed the slide a few slides ago, 4 5 slides ago, in terms of the other competition in the region and globally as well. And while I might not agree of how you place yourself because it's too soon to claim that you are right at the opposite end of the spectrum of trucker or people who've raised billions of dollars and doing successful business. But time will tell. I think there's enough space in the market for 10 more players such as yourself and the local market itself to be able to facilitate the market. Similarly, we can have 5 more Ubers and there'll still be enough capacity in Pakistan to be able to facilitate. So those are my comments. I think you'll have to be very careful in terms of how you take your business going forward. I think education will be key to facilitate the onboarding of those people who need to pitch and come onto your platform.
Thank you very much. I understand. और इसमें ऐसा है कि कोई भी ट्रांसपोर्ट तो फ्री नहीं होता, उसकी सारी फ्लीट इंगेज रहती हैं, लेकिन शिपर साइड पे प्रॉब्लम ये आता है, उनको सर्विस लेवल वो नहीं मिल पाता जो कि वो डिजर्व करते हैं. तो ट्रांसपोर्टर्स को ऑनबोर्ड करना, उनको ग्रूम करना, इट्स अ बिग चैलेंज. इट्स डूएबल. सर मैं ये कहना चाहता, जैसे आपने रेज किया पॉइंट के ट्रांसपोर्टर्स जितने भी है उनका फ्लीट हमेशा एंगेज रहता है, कभी भी उनका ट्रक आपको फ्री नहीं मिल सकता, ठीक है. लेकिन साइमल्टेनियसली अगर शिपर साइड पे देखा जाए तो उनको ये इश्यूज आते हैं कि उनको वो सर्विस लेवल नहीं मिल पाता जो कि वो डिजर्व करते हैं.
But आपकी correct, and that's what I'm saying. There is a lot of potential that is there. I don't disagree. I'm just saying there will be a lot of challenges and an uphill battle to be able to make this kind of in the informal sector to formalize it and to administratively manage it and to ensure that you're taking the business away from the local administrative mafia. It's not an easy task altogether. So I'm just saying there's going to be a lot of challenge and you should be prepared for it in terms of the education part to bring on these trucking companies, because they're not sitting idle, they're not losing business. Who's losing is, at the end of the day, people who require the transportation. It is not people who are providing the transport.
Thank you, Raj. We'll have to move on to another startup now.
Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to pitch before the judges. Thank you.
Meera Mal from Sami Khan is next. Sami, are you there with us? Sami Khan, are you there with us?
I think so. Sami is
Yes,
not.
yes. Sami is here. Hello.
Okay, do you have a pitch deck?
Yeah, I don't have that much slide, but I just want to share. That's my first time I am attending such type of any conversation or platform. So basically, my product is my company is Miramal. That is an online portal to help the B2B client to reduce time and cost with online cargo booking. So presently, most of the companies are working for the FTL and, and working for changing the mindset of the transporters and all of these things. But there is another jump. There's a big market over there, and this is called the cargo, express cargo. So I want to push on that. So and I want to provide to. I mean, I want to facilitate the client for making it easy for them. Here, the B2B market is really searching a platform where they can work their cargo. Cargo means the small cargo, not full truckload. It's a LTLs sort of services. It's a logistics services. The uh, the client is looking for efficiency in time delivery and least cost. The other side where the big names are there, of course, like DHL and the big names are there, who are offering their services, but a lot of big junk is there who cannot afford the cost. Similarly, there are a lot of vendors who are offering the same services at least cost, but there is no bridge in between the vendor and the client. So with the help of this portal, I want to remove the gap between vendor and the client so that the client can get easily booking of their small cargo and the vendor is easily can get the business. So it will be a win-win situation for a client and the vendor where the client can select his time and cost. I mean, he can choose the service according to his pocket or the budget. Similarly, the vendor is there there will be a multiple vendors on the other side of the portal who will be offering their rack or shelf price according to their category. It's totally will be depending on the client which services they want to select. So the services will be available for the high paid client to the low paid client. Similarly, high charge vendor to the low charge vendor. This is my idea. Yes.
Any feedback from the experts? Zartaj or Nauman?
So Sartaj hasn't unmuted herself, so I'll speak. So I think the idea is not new in general. I think we see these examples in global trading platforms or e-commerce platforms where, depending on the kind of money that you want to spend or how long you're able to wait for a particular package to be received by you, you choose the external vendor, and then based on your administrative cost, you choose and you select. So I think from a Pakistan perspective, I think one or two, maybe one company is doing this at the back. Is it happening very well? Absolutely not. Um, I think this could work, but then I don't understand your business model because you're not a direct electronic e-commerce platform. and neither are you a retail platform. So you'll be a person who would be having, let's say, all the delivery channel partners, and then going and facilitating and going and pitching to all the e-commerce platforms to be able to adopt your mechanism to be able to give options to their underlying clients on that platform. Um, if the idea is to make the process not as less taxing for the underlying client, but also cost efficient, that would mean, but how will that work without, I know it's just an idea stage right now for you, but you'll have to work out the fact of how do you earn commission or how do you retain money out of this entire equation by still making it cheaper for the underlying client and still make it viable for the courier company, and then also be facilitated to the e-commerce platform. So I think there are multiple parties involved that you need for everybody to win for this platform to work. And this looks like a long drawn process where the volume is going to help you get business. And there are not a lot of courier companies in Pakistan who are as efficient to be able to provide this. So I think while the idea is okay, I think you'll have to dwell on it further, maybe make a business plan, do a little research on the kind of size of the market and where you'll break even in year 2, year 3, year 4, depending on the scale of operations. And so that's my view here.
Can I add here?
G, quickly.
Can I add here?
G, quickly.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah. There is no doubt it's a new plan. Only 1 or 2 vendor might be working on it. Yes, I have 3 sides. One is portal, one is vendor side, one is client side, one is portal. Of course, it will be the e-commerce side. I will be needing a funding for that, for developing that thing. There is no doubt there is big express cargo companies are there. I'm talking about to provide facility for every client who want to get good services. So whoever want to have the good service, they will go to DHL, TSS or such sort of big organization. But those who want to have a good corporate level services, they can join. Those clients can join the Mera Mall, and those vendors who are unable to approach to the small and medium enterprise SMEs can join my portal on a minimum very small margin, around I can say 10% of their margin, which they will pay to the Mera Mall. There will be no charging from client side. There will be a margin for registration from the vendor side. That's it.
Yes. And that's what I'm challenging. I don't think you'll be able to charge from the underlying vendor who's supplying the goods. I think you'll have to charge from the courier company, or you want to be that courier company, or the third party service providers you will have as a courier company for the goods delivery. I think you'll have to take a share from there. Vendors who are selling, let's say, handmade goods on any platform are already working on very thin margins in the country because of the import, very competitive price import from China and other markets. Even if that market, the work is coming through the UAE, for example, the two big trade import partners for Pakistan.
From my side, the vendor means the express companies, and the client means the SMEs.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Miraj is here. Am I audible?
Yes. Miraj, are you there?
Yes, Miraj.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You're audible.
Okay, thank you so much. How are you doing?
Ji Miraj, what's your idea? What do you want to share with the judges?
Okay, sir. Sir, basically my boss will share. He is just coming. Can I join just after 5 minutes? Can you give me the chance just after 5 minutes?
Okay, we'll go to Dr. Samia then. Dr. Samia, can you share your idea, please? Ji, Dr. Samia, can you please share your idea?
Assalamualaikum. You can see my presentation. This is my group. I'm running this consultant group last 5 years. We developed two certain innovative product. My introduction, I'm Dr. Sami, PhD in microbiology and working as a halal consultant and Islamic finance consultant. I'm also provide the consultancy in patent consultancy, paper publication, health management, education, and family takaful. This is our team members. We are the under consideration of Dr. Sajid and me and microbiologist Dr. Muin, Dr. Sajid, Dr. Ran, and Mohammed Idris. The core members, we developed the first Pakistan scientific online system to sales the innovative product of different scientists. These are under construction. We also developed the one women healthcare services. This is also under construction. We loop up to nurses and paramedic staff and laboratories in one platform and manage to the health treatment cost. These are my first innovative product. It is derived from my PhD. Developed wound care, honey-based wound care ointment. It is better in Pakistan, and I published 4 books for this publication. I treatment for the 7,000 patients in locally Pakistan. It is low-cost treatment for treatment of wound. I also last 2019 I drive the wound dressing to use this ointment. These in present in DICE and DICE collaborate at Martin Law. These are also working in Federal Urdu University. The student team developed Sherry's bath and body product. New startups is also help develop 2 handmade soaps and different skin cares and body care creams. Is also developed to the under the supervision of Dow and Dow Dice and Martin Dow. We also working on to develop the skincare R&D lab and develop different innovative product in this lab. And my future plan is we develop the separate wound care centers, and these wound care center move to the franchise to different cities, mega cities, to provide the quality and low cost wound care treatment. Being microbiologists in COVID, we developed 2 certain sterilization products and physically and to control the infection, viral and bacterial and fungal infection. This is a common autoclave. It is the if we import these products is highly budget range out of the range of most users. We develop these products in locally. And we also develop the hot air ovens in locally to the sale in local market and very affordable price. We also developed the UVC light system to control the microbes, different viruses and different fungi to provide the infection control system in local level. We also working of surgical equipment. Surgical equipment.
Your time is up.
Huh?
Your time
Yeah.
is up.
We show the certain devices we are locally made and developed in Pakistan, and also working in female hygiene product is most demanding item in our innovation group. This is my short presentation. I am working to a lot of team of different students and
Thank you. Experts, any feedback?
I think I'll let Zartaj speak this time round. I have a view, but I think it'll be unfair if I speak all the time. Zartaj, you have any views?
Thank you, Nauman.
Yeah, hi, Samia. I hope I'm taking your name correctly. So thank you for the presentation. Have you got, and I may have missed it, you did mention about some, so is it endorsed? Are your products endorsed? Particularly in terms of ointment that I saw, is it endorsed by anybody?
yeah, we are working. It is the certified product developed in our innovation group. It is tested for the Pakistan, submitted to Pakistan standards. If we export these products, I'm working for the apply to the FDA quality control. This why we need to certain funding to the locally product going to the export, because the Pakistani standards law are different and export is standard laws different depend the vendors. If the vendors come from different countries, they give me quotations and requirement. I will in Pakistan standardization system is very good now. We have the WHO standards laboratories and quality control laboratories. If the vendor need to certify these product, I will provide these products after the certification.
Yeah, all right. And what is the business model? So I did see a lot of technical detail. Again, I might have missed it. But could you just elaborate on the business model a little bit?
We sell this product. We develop the science shop. We sales it is just under construction or need for seed funding for this adventure. After the construction, these products sale by like the RAS model to everyone have need these products to order us, and we give to the we dispatch this product according to the through courier. But the business model to the sale of these products, we get the certain resources to inject our the future plans.
Right. All right. Thank you. So I do have some general feedback on all the pitches that I'm observing. And when I speak in the end, after the pitches are done, then I'll definitely share that. There will be some, learning from my own experience. So I'm sure that would help you. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. To make the best use of time. Yes. Sorry, Nauman.
Sorry, Asfar, I think आप एक साथ बोलने लगे थे, bit delay था. So I'll just give a 30-second answer and just a feedback to Doctor. So the fact is, I think there is no doubt that Pakistan, which is number 14 in the world biggest consumer markets in the world out of the 200 plus UN recognized countries, we are number 14 in terms of the consumer spending. And there are global estimates that we will be number 7 in the global spending consumer market by the year 2030. That means around average $11 a day spending per capita per person every day. So that's how big the huge market that there's a huge potential, Dr. Saib. I think you're on the right track. Good quality products, like Zartaj said, certified and validated by the relevant regulatory authorities. if it is made well, there's a huge market. Daraz is one of the platform, but there are many such platforms. And if you choose the right distributors in the market, there is no way that you should fail. There is only an upside. And if you do the retail product right, um, you should be able to generate very decent amount of businesses backed by the franchising model that you're talking about, and other locally produced medical equipment. I work with a lot of US FDA companies who do supply medical equipment outside Pakistan. We do register FDA businesses in Pakistan for the US FDA. We are their data gatherers and validators for Pakistan. So I think there's a huge potential of what you're doing. I wish you the best of luck. I think you have the right experience.
Sir, we recently in COVID situation, our draft is also established and established certain government standard. We try to standardize our product as a European standard. Our government support us. We submit different projects in different funding agencies. If any funding agency fund us to be managed, the future is plan is to strengthen the researcher lab to produce their own products and sell to the direct market. No need for the companies. A lot of student time and researcher time killed to the established businessmen, because the established businessmen take the seed money and any fund to the flourish high demand markets. The new innovative products take some time to the go in market and establish the brand recognition.
Absolutely. I wish you the best of luck. I think you're on the right track.
Thank you.
Thank you. So those who have already made presentations and are on the PowerPoint format, or for that matter PDF, should come up with their presentations only. Those who are not prepared, they should actually wait for Zartaj and Nauman's expert opinion and advice, because that will help you to create your presentation. So it's better to learn from these experts. So anyone who has actually made their presentation, they should come up and present. You can type in the chat if you have made your presentation and submitted it. If you haven't made it, I think so we'll move to the experts and for their time, because that will help you in your presentation. So Farokh, have you made your presentation, or you have worked on your presentation? Do you have a deck? You have it. So Farokh can be next. Aliza, if you can allow him.
Yeah, hello. I believe I am presentable now, right? Can I move on?
Yes, you're audible. You have 3 minutes. Please
fine.
start with it.
Well, I'm just going to summarize all of the concepts besides what I am planning to have. I am actually looking to go with the middleware, which would be an application as a recommendation system. Well, what I thought is being an experience as a consumer, I believe that usually I would not have any time to memorize many of the things, which is a usual expertise or a usual part of my daily grocery or sort of a thing. So there must be an application besides where the details of my application, all the data would be there, so that I can have multiple acknowledgements and advisories from relevant products counter with the respective stores to go with that. Well, in a nutshell, I must say it's the recommendation system which would recommend me with respect to my history, as well as with the new marketing policies when I would be in the vicinity of that mall or at that location of specific premises. Because being the want to reach out the customer, it's better to move on with the application, which is actually this application concept is being endorsed by Walmart as well, but not usually being the part of multiple stores like here in Lucky Mall or in Dolmen, as well as many of the different super stores. So this is what I believe, and the initiation of the concept would be like that. We need to make a login and make the member of the customer through our application, where the point would be redeemed as well. And definitely this will help to make the certain sort of attraction like that. We have different ceremonies and different balloting to provide the certain gifts and like things, and definitely the redemption of the specific codes, because the loyalty card usually been forgotten or lost somewhere, and when you have the mobile and you do not have the loyalty card, you cannot attain that specific discount or special sort of a things. So the digitized way to facilitate these things, as well as I want to wrap up that specific enclosure of that vision, which actually being provided by the paperless concept. So here you can see the concept, actually the users and the list of the item, where I just mentioned it out that we can make it with the user profile, and where we can have the references of the recommendations with respect to that his history. And these are different models which we are going to use, definitely user-based filtering as well as the item-based. These are web-based actually being utilized by Amazon and different Alibaba as well, and YouTube as well. They are recommending the things, but not actually incorporated in the applications. Here is a small flow of the concept. I made it. I think this would definitely make the whole concept clear, that if the user is old, definitely it will go with that profiling gesture. And if the user is not that much old and definitely user is new, the definitely he will
time is up.
He will definitely make with the recommendations of the profile. And this is what the bill is payment process flow is, and we'll definitely use a QR code for the registration of the customer to float with the things. Thank you.
Thank you, Farooq. Ji, Zartaj, you have Zartaj and Nauman. Can you please share your feedback?
Yeah, so I just want to know, how is it different from the RAS or other apps, similar apps that we have? So I just want to know what your USP is.
This is much different with that, because this is not specific for us, and it's a middle ground for generic. Because if we opt for the medical, if we opt for any grocery, we will have that profile. And Draz usually recommend with respect to his own suggestion based on the people searching. But here, if we have integrated the web APIs from the specific Gulahmed web page as well, the promotions will be integrated, and the customer who is online marketer of that specific store will definitely be on the store, and the store will recommend him against his profile. Because in pandemic, usually people do not follow to go with the shopping, and the recommendation is like that in very painful generic way. So definitely this needs to be incorporated to facilitate the customer.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So my question was, I wanted to understand USP. I'm sorry I got disconnected. So if you can quickly share that, different layers.
Share that actually facilitate their customer with respect to their applications and their user profile. If you shop on Draz with every specific store and you are there with the facility of that store, Draz is not going to recommend you to buy the product from that store. You are actually the customer of that. So my concept is that
I don't know. I can't hear Farooq. I don't know if you guys can hear him properly.
Yeah, Nauman sir.
I could hear you now, but a lot of what you said, I couldn't hear. आपकी आवाज बहुत कट रही थी.
Am I audible now?
Much better, yeah.
Well, the concept beside is that it's a general platform. If you are shopping from Daraz and you do not have the specific customer integrated with you, so Daraz is not going to recommend you if you have shopped anything and the retailer is at that same location. Suppose if I usually buy the products from Gul Ahmad online, and if I would be there in Lucky Mall, so my application have to recommend me with the suggestions of promotions, with the suggestions of anything, because I am the loyal customer of the Gul Ahmad. He has to reach me to sell me, to facilitate me, rather than making me to pondering over what I have to buy and what I have to go with it. Because we need to reach the specific floor, column, or specific shelf to find it out if it's feasible for ourselves or not. But having this, we will definitely have the price and adjustability as well, and we can manage the cost management and our budget as well.
I could understand very little, but I think we can move on.
Wajahat, do you have a pitch deck?
Wajahat, आप mute करो.
Yes, I have a pitch, but I have no any documentation for the pitching.
No. I'm asking if you have a presentation.
Yeah, I have no presentation this time because I have just a pitch.
Okay, then what we can do is we can move on to the speakers, and then the next time you can come up with a presentation, and we'll have it. We'll have you pitch in front of the speakers.
Okay.
ठीक है.
Okay.
Zartaj, do you want to go first?
Yeah, thank you. So just let me share my screen. Yeah, so is my screen visible?
Yeah, it is.
All right, cool. So yeah, so I did hear, I was able to hear some of the pitches, and I think some of the ideas are really good. But I would just quickly want to share about, how do you pitch online and my experience and my learning, basically. I believe there's still a lot to learn for me. But my learning that I have come across, especially being a part of the Founder Institute program. So basically, I am Zartaj Ahmed, and I am the co-founder of two startups. Both are related to education. One is the PI Space Science Education Center, and the other is Curiosity, which is a more recent one. Basically, Curiosity is a social media network, just like LinkedIn for students, as we like to call it, and people immediately sort of understand what we're talking about. I have been in the entrepreneurship or the startup ecosystem since 2018. I'm a software engineer by profession, so a tech person, and business or entrepreneurship was something new, I would say. And then I became part of the Standard Chartered Women in Tech program, which was my first experience of actually going through the entrepreneurship training. I graduated from the Founder Institute program as part of NIC Karachi's COVID cohort, as I call it. It was a 2020 cohort. We had completely online virtual sessions. And then later on, just last month, I attended a very productive and, a program by Founder University, which is by Jason Calacanis, and their Launch Accelerator program, from where I learned quite a lot, which I will be sharing today. I know, I've been through this, and a lot of people go through this, that when you're asked to pitch your startup, it makes us feel excited, but at the same time, we're overwhelmed about how much information we should share. Some people are really confident and they know their idea so well that they explain it in a lot of detail. And most, I would say, are scrambling as to understand how much should I share and what should I share. So basically, when it comes to pitch decks and pitching, there are quite a few flavors, I like to call it, because I love ice cream. And that is why I like to call and I relate to the pitch versions as pitch flavors. So one of the flavor is elevator pitch, which is like 10 to 15 seconds, and you have to pitch your idea. Now, in this one, you have to make sure that you have the kind of hook to actually get into a meeting, which is worth 5 minutes maybe, because based on the elevator pitch, I don't think you get a longer meeting, but yes, you just have to get or grab the attention of whoever you're pitching to. Then there is another flavor, which is a 2 to 3 minute pitch. The next one is a 5 minute pitch. And then you have a 30-minute pitch, which is a deeper dive into, what you're doing, what your business is about. And by the end of Founder Institute program, I think you have enough knowledge and experience that you can actually prepare an investor pitch deck, which is a 30-minute long one. Remember, preparation and practice. A lot of practice is very, very important. And when I say practice, it's not only the pitch deck, but it's what you have to say with it. So you have very little text on the slides, but it has to be supported by a very strong script, which contains everything that you want to cover. The first three are really to hook your investor or the judges or wherever you're participating in a competition. And the last one is really a deeper dive, as I mentioned. I'll share with you quickly that, just a while ago, I think a couple of months ago, somebody who I sent my pitch deck to, and I requested a very honest, brutal feedback, and that was really brutal what they got back with. And they said that your pitch design sucks. And that was, something that hit me hard. And me and my co-founder, we sat down and we thought that, what could be improved. And so we realized that a very important part of pitching is also the UI UX design. So I think I will, if we have time, I will quickly like to, share my pitch deck, my business's pitch deck, so you can have an idea of how it looks like and how much the UI and every aspect of it that I'm going to talk about is important. Very teeny weeny minute details, but I do give a lot of importance to these things. I prepare myself. So the display name that you have on Zoom or on any other web conference. So if it is a countrywide thing, you will write your startup name, you will write your city, and you will write your name. So some examples that I've given here, just for a quick, something that, these details are not missed by the host or the presenters or the judges. Then your virtual background, as you can see, I have my company's logo on. I'm wearing my, my company, a lot of limitations, but you can still get creative about how you pitch your startup, even in the online setting. Next is your appearance. I particularly feel that having your video on makes it very interactive, makes the judges or the, the host or the presenter connect with you really well and interact through the reactions. So I always make sure that I am putting things down on the chat and, I am interactive. I know people think that who cares about these things, but these are, as I said, very little details that are worth looking at. Then, as I mentioned about the script, you should have your slide deck, but you should also have your script. A script is something where you put down everything you're going to say. Right now, I'm speaking extempore, but I usually have my script, and I'm going to show you how it looks like. With every slide, I have a few lines of text going there. Now, why is this important? Because the pitches are timed. A lot of people that pitched today, most of you, I think, went over time, which is absolutely fine at this stage. But when you're working towards your pitch, you have to make sure that, okay, I'm allotted 3 minutes of time. I should end at 2:45. And trust me, since it's online, there are delays and things that happen. So that 15-second buffer will be filled up. So make sure that you have a script and you know that whatever speed you speak at, you should know how many words can you speak in, let's say 1 minute or 3 minutes. So always keep it a little less than the time that you're given. The order of the slides, normally when you're pitching, you're either pitching to a certain evaluation criteria, you're participating in a competition, and so there's a judging rubric where the judges are given a sheet that they have to evaluate the startup based on certain points. You are shared that evaluation criteria. You can ask the organizers for that. And so when you create your slides in that particular order, it makes the life easy for judges to evaluate you. So it's just like giving an exam and making it easier for the examiner to check your paper. That is how, you really have to think about it. So, and there is no detail that is missed out. So really it's that. One thing that I have removed from my pitch deck is the thank you slide, because it only said thank you and nothing else. What I realized after participating in a few competitions just recently was that a thank you slide is blank. You should always leave your viewers, your audience, with the summary slide. And what's the summary slide now? The summary slide is basically highlighting the key takeaways. What do you want your judges to remember about your startup? It could be something from the eligibility criteria. If you're in a competition, you would want to focus more on that. What is the criteria they're judging you at? A brief summary of that. And so a summary slide is the best slide to leave it on once you've done your pitch. You've said thank you. So do say thank you, but remove the slide and say thank you on the summary slide. And I'm just going to show you a sample for that. One important tip that I recently learned was having some extra slides on your pitch deck. And that means that, having extra slides is basically like, let's say you're talking about the pricing strategy for your startup. Now, your pricing strategy would have details as to how did you experiment with the pricing strategy. So in that case, what you would do is make an extra slide for that. You show your business model, which is very brief, concise, precise, very neat, clean, but then have a drill down detailed slide as an extra slide. When judges ask you that question, quickly scroll to that slide because that is there and prepared, and explain to them, because visuals are very important, right? If anything is visual in front of us, it makes sense. If there's nothing visual, no matter how much I talk, there's a certain retention time. And so you will only remember just little things. And so everybody and judges, as we say that kids have very small attention span, it's the same with everyone, with all of the human beings. So some of the slides to actually look at when you're making extra slides are market research, business model, product features. These are the things you want to talk about in detail, but don't necessarily have the time in your main pitching time. And then financial models and financial statements. Some judges do go into that detail. So next is content of the pitch. And this is very, very important. And this I've put together through, all of the training sessions that I've taken. A lot of them have happened at NIC Karachi and through Founder Institute as well. So this is basically flavor of the pitch. As I said, depending on the version of the pitch, you are going to design the content of the pitch deck. Then the judging criteria or the pitch requirement. What is your target audience? Know your judges. If you're giving an investor pitch, know your investor. What is their background knowledge? And what stage of the startup are you at? So either it's MVP, minimum viable product stage, you haven't hit the market. Do you have users and customers? Now, what's the difference between users and customers? Users are your free users. Customers are the one who are paying you. and then if you have revenue or early traction. There are two things that I've highlighted here at the bottom. There's Jason's 4 rules of pitching, and I highly recommend this. So please take this link down, bit.ly Jason pitch, and then FI winning pitch templates. There are multiple pitch templates for different stage of the startup provided by Founder Institute. And I'm a big fan of Founder Institute resources because besides the Founder Institute program, the resources have helped us a lot in developing our product, in developing our pitch deck as well. In terms of content, obviously talk about your product and not only talk about it. Jason literally said, so I attended this Founder University, he literally said, don't talk, show me what you're doing, what your product is. And even if it's a 10, 15 seconds quick video demo or in pictures that you can show what your product does, it goes, you know, a big mile. Then the design and the UI is important. As I said, if your presentation is not appealing, has a lot of text and all, doesn't appeal, then it doesn't grab the attention of your viewer. So it is wise to spend money on the product design as well as your pitch deck design. I got it designed by an experienced UI UX designer, and that was a game changer for us. Then the market. So what I learned was the market, you know, the way we show the market, like total addressable market, serviceable addressable market, and service and SOM as well. So TAM, SAM, SOM, as opposed to that, they recommend that you do a bottom-up approach. You're starting from Pakistan, start from Pakistan, how will you grow? What is your target market? And things like that. So do a bottom-up approach and drill down on the customer segment. Know your customer really well. Then go to market. This is one slide. You identify the channels of where you will find your customer. How will you get them? There is a beachhead strategy which tells what is your entry point in the market. So talk about that. And then how do you scale it? How do you grow it? The next one is business model. Obviously, talk about your pricing strategy. Very clearly articulate how are you making money. That is a simple question to answer through your business model. Then show the traction in terms of charts. And I'll show you my pitch deck in terms of charts, graphs, anything, big numbers, show it out. Then the team slide is very important. The team should have a very well-balanced mix of people who are addressing marketing, who are technical, who are looking at business development, legal, finance, everything. So all areas are covered, which are crucial for a startup. I know you can't have a person for everything, but there may be people who are doing multiple roles, but at least all the functions are covered. Then talk about the competition. It is very important to know the competition as good as your own product. So that is very important, and you have to demonstrate that, not just tell them. So demonstrate that understanding of the competition. Then fundraising, how much have you raised? What is the investment opportunity? What are you asking for? And how will you deploy those funds? Then communication, it's very important that you keep your answers very brief, clear, concise. So the judges or anybody who's asking you those questions gets to understand and has the time to get all the questions answered from you. Then there is a roadmap slide. When you're showing how you will scale, show the bigger vision of the startup and what will be the journey like. So you really have to think through it. And then finally, what's important is why you? Now, these are very important questions. Why is it that this startup can be done by you? Why is it this idea can be executed by you? What's your unfair advantage? And trust me, these questions take a lot of time to answer. So sit down with your team and answer these. You must have heard about product market fit, but also think about founder market fit. Why are you the person who will be perfect in this market? What capacities do you have? What do you have? And then the founder product fit. Why are you pursuing this product or this business idea? And why now is a good time? So all these questions that are under point number 12 are very, very important for you to answer as a startup. Final recommendations. There are some communities that I found very useful. I get very useful advice from the Founder Institute Graduates group. It's a Facebook group. Then the other Facebook group that I really am very active on is the SaaS growth hacks. And if you have a SaaS product, then please be a part of this. This is very useful in terms of marketing, go-to-marketing, customer acquisition. People share their experiences, the products that I never knew. I came across this group. Then these are some mandatory readings that have benefited us in understanding the startup journey. There are some events and programs like the Launch Accelerator program by Founder University. This is run by Jason Calacanis himself. The Founder Showcase. So right after I completed my Founder Institute, I graduated from the program. I reached out to Founder Showcase, which is a global event that happens where startups get to pitch. And I sent my pitch deck, and the Founder Institute team responded to me, although I was not selected for pitching, because they had some feedback for me. And trust me, that feedback is very useful. So somebody is looking at your pitch and giving you feedback. Then the Y Combinator program, I see great value in this. So I hope you've taken these down. I think I can share this with Alize as well, the slide deck. I would quickly like to share my, Alize, do we have time? I would just like to run through my pitch deck so these guys have an idea of what am I talking about.
Yes, quickly, Zartaj, just 2-3 minutes.
Sure, thank you, thank you. I'll just make it very, very quick. Yeah, so can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is Curiosity. It is LinkedIn for students, as I mentioned. We talk about the problem. We have done surveys from where we have come up with this number. And so we put down the problem in very simple, precise manner. Next, we have the solution. So we talk about the solution in general terms. And then next we come to how is CuriosityNet a solution for the problems that we've highlighted. And we exactly answer every problem that we've mentioned. Then we have a couple of slides on the solution. We show the dashboard, which is part of the solution. And then we talk about the market size, as I mentioned. Now, market size, if you can see, we've given the timeline over here. We've given the regions from where we are going to which region, and the revenue that is available, and what is our market share. So this very clearly shows you what is the market opportunity like, rather than TAM, SAM, and SOM. Next, we have the traction slide. It looks really busy, but you have to point the viewer in the right direction, show some stats of the website, show what you've done so far. Even though some numbers are really small and you will feel what is it, but be realistic in what you're showing. And then the regions from where your users are. Then we show the competitive landscape. As I said, that we have features listing, and there's another way where you show the 4 quadrants and you show your product on the top right. So there are 2 ways of showing the competition. Next is the business model and the pricing and how we're making money. Very clear and straightforward. Then we show the marketing strategy. How are we acquiring customers? How are we reaching them? And how are we keeping them as well, which is customer service. Then we show the roadmap over some time and what are we achieving during these years? What are we doing with the product, and what regions are we going into over a period of 3 to 4 years? Then we show our team, their expertise, what they're looking at in the company, financials. I had to remove the numbers, but yeah, very brief financials. And if they want to go into detail, I would have separate slides for covering the questions that are related to financials. This is the investment opportunity, or this is what I'm asking for raising money. And I am showing that this will help me do this, this, and this. So I've shown the deployment of the funds as well. And this is my summary slide, which I shared earlier, that the summary slide is where I say, okay, so this is how we wrap it up. There's a big opportunity, a strong team, and a growing user base. And thank you very much. So this is where I end my pitch deck. So very quickly, I just thought that I'd just share this with you. Thank you very much for your time and listening to this. I hope it made sense to some of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Awesome. Great work, Zartaj. So we have Nauman as well.
I think it will be kind of unfair if I take more time now, and I think we don't have a lot of participants left, and as well, quite a few of them have left already. I think the way that
The Zartaj and Nauman, we have a quick question in the Q&A. Our team is planning to launch a micro-mobility dog-based electronic bike share service in Pakistan, especially in tourist space. So we need advice from experts in terms of financing and legal route. What would route what that would that what route we need to take first? So they are working on a bike, electronic bike, and they need to know the financing and legal side of it. It's a tough question, I can understand.
I think this is a question from Mubariz, or if Nauman can answer.
So it depends on how you, if you're manufacturing in Pakistan, the legal route is extremely simple. You need to have at least a private limited firm to be able to attract the investors. Anybody who's coming in will not be taking you seriously if you're a proprietorship, partnership, or an LLP. You need to have the memorandum or the article space available for you to be able to attract that investment. So I think that's essential. But routing it into Pakistan, I think that's the service that we're doing to the country. So having that set up in Pakistan where the funding is routed into the country. Maybe you can unmute yourself, or maybe Asfa can give you that permission. If you can probably specifically ask what you were trying to ask, but based on what you said, I think the legal route is to have at least a private limited firm with at least 2 directors, and ensure that you bring in money via Pakistan, into Pakistan, and via any channel. But there is no legal bar or restriction for any foreign investor coming in and taking any equity in your firm. There is no legal bar for that perspective. Rather, the SCCP is facilitating these kind of investments.
Thank you, Nauman. Okay, so we are about to end this session, but quickly, Nauman, your experience, if you can just sum it up. And you have been a coach at the Founder Institute, and you have worked with startups. You are yourself involved with businesses. So any advice, any message, and you have seen some of the startups.
Sure.
Just on the session.
Sure, absolutely. So I will not take a lot of time. I'll just do a very quick note. And the fact is that when Mubariz said at the very beginning that this is a wonderful time to be in Pakistan, to be able to do and try and do business. But everybody wants to be raising funds, and everybody is just looking after these quick successes that people have raised, or these news that we get to see that उसने इतने $1 million raise कर लिया, उसने इतने $1 million raise कर लिया, इतनी valuation. तो ये सारे dreams हैं, और ये ख्वाब हैं, सारे इनको side पे रखता है. I think the reality is that you need to focus on the kind of business idea that you have. Ensure that that business idea is transformed into a document, like the example that Zartaj showed you. It's very articulate, it's very focused, it is well documented, it helps you yourself as a business originator to understand the kind of market that, or the product, or the idea, or the service that you've thought of. I think it's very essential. I've seen in majority of the businesses, I've been with the FI program for a long time, with NIC and with Seed Ventures and everything, and I see a lot of businesses pitching and thinking of ideas. I think everybody's just fighting towards getting that funding. I think it's not as easy. What you need to focus on is to ensure that your product has merit, or your idea has merit, or the service that you thought of has merit. Document it. Try and initiate that business, bootstrapping it in the first phase. Don't look for funding. Initiate करें, market में launch करें, पहली कमाई कर लें, और उस दिन अपने आप को आप बोलें कि मैं एक entrepreneur हूँ, एक businessman हूँ. उससे पहले बोलने का कोई फायदा नहीं है, because एक idea तो कोई भी सोच सकता है. But bring that idea to life and having somebody pay for it. And this is every time that I speak to founders or people who are starting up the businesses, it's my clear message to them. Don't think of yourself as an entrepreneur or a startup or a businessman till the time that you've convinced someone to pay for your service, pay for your product, and you've generated revenue, even if that's just $100 for the entire year. But somebody has paid for what you have made, not friends and family, but third parties. And that third party validation is very, very important. I think you need to focus on that. Forget about these niceties that people think of, and creating nice offices and ensuring that you have large spaces and teams available and all that. You can't have a perfect product. Start with an MVP, try a very basic product or service, go market it, sell it, and then that will give you the confidence to be able to, and give the confidence to the people who are investing in your businesses to also to have that confidence that you've somewhat thought of the right product or the service. I think that's my parting message as for to the business is that anybody can come up with an idea, but you're not a businessman till the time that you actually convince someone to buy it from you and be it a product or a service.
Thank you so much, Nauman. That's it for today's session. Guys, please visit the FI website and apply now for the Karachi intake. I'm grateful to the Taj and Nauman and also Mubariz, who were our three experts today. They shared their experience, their insights, as well as all the directors of FI Karachi, Bulbasid, Mubasi, Umar Abdeen, and myself, and well supported by Alize. So, guys, you can still send your queries. We would love to answer them as well. That's it for today's session. Thank you, everyone, and Allah Hafiz.
Take care and best of luck to everyone.